Okay. 2. All right. I got an order. New partner, Flannery's Meat, delivered right to the man cave. We had the pasta yesterday, the bolognese sauce that was made with this.
Flannery Beef has sausages. They got steaks.
Yes.
They got everything.
Yeah, so they sent this, and I said, you know what? That bolognese was pretty good. We should probably see how well they make a hamburger. So this is just research right here. I don't know how I've fallen back in love with pickles. Now,
Oh, pickles are great.
I don't know if the other Danettes are watching, but
Yeah. Feel better about yourself?
yes.
Hamburgers are good for you.
Wow. Now, 1, 2, 3.
3 each. Yeah, 3 each. I think that's fair. But if you want to go 4 and I'll go 2, I'll go. I gotta keep your weight down. Good. Are you ready for the season? Oh, that's nuts.
Here is the Florida governor. His name is Ron DeSantis. And Ron DeSantis is talking about Florida welcoming pro sports.
All these professional sports are going to be welcome in Florida. That may not be the case in every other state in this country, as we've seen. And so what I would tell commissioners of leagues is if you have a team in an area where they just won't let them operate, we'll find a place for you here in the state of Florida because we think it's important and we know that it can be done safely.
We don't know it can be done safely, but if it can be done safely, I'm all for it. So that's Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor. They had already explored this at Disney World, maybe bringing all the NBA teams down there, and you sort of have a quarantined end of the regular season and the postseason there on the Disney campus because you have restaurants there. I mean, everything is there. You have your own little world. And it's almost like the Truman Show, if you saw that movie with Jim Carrey, where everybody is there and you have your neighborhood, your community, and maybe you could have this season salvaged here with the NBA. Everything's on the table. It should be. I get it. You know, now we have some, and it's not political agendas. It's just, politics enters in where you have the stay-at-home policy in California, and now you're going to extend it for 3 months, and then the next day you start to walk that back. That's the danger of all of this. You know, this has to be a team. It's got to be teamwork to have everybody saying the right thing so we don't get confused with it. Like, that's safe, but that's not safe. They can play, but we can't play. That league, that conference, that's where I get nervous about this. Making sure that we have a unified voice, that we know this is what it's going to take. And I'm not complaining about anything. Even when they said, hey, what do you think about pumping in crowd noise? If you said I can have football right now, and they pump in crowd noise, I'm fine with that. I don't want it. I'd rather not have it. I'd rather have no crowd noise. But if you said, hey, you got football coming back, and they're going to have some fake noise, I will get over it. I promise I'll get over it. Hey, baseball is coming back, and they might have the DH on both leagues. I'm okay with that. I'm really lenient right now. You want to have basketball in Florida? Let's have basketball in Florida.
I hate to bring up the ESPN NBA list again, but I had one question. I'm a little irritated that Bird is number 7 ahead of Duncan, Kobe, and Shaq. And I respect Bird. I know all he's done, but like you said yesterday, the greatest is about the skills, and it's not about accomplishments. It's all about the player itself. So, just your opinion on Bird.
I don't know what it's based on. Thank you, Jimmy. I don't know who voted. I don't know the criteria. And that's what Paulie and I tried to find out yesterday, because you're going to vote on who you saw. And there are times when you just put in somebody because if you don't, then you're going to look stupid. Like people put in Oscar Robertson. I'm going to guess the people voting on this did not see Oscar play. Now, they know he averaged a triple-double, and he won a title when he was with Milwaukee. Okay. I mean, Oscar was one of the great players of all time. People didn't see Elgin Baylor play. If you look at Elgin Baylor's numbers as a 6'5" forward, like we think Charles Barkley was amazing, and he was. Elgin Baylor didn't win, but he was unbelievable. Nobody saw him play. I'm guessing who voted on this. Do you know his career average? Now, career average for Elgin Baylor, and I'm going to guess at best he was 6'5". He averaged 27 points, 12 rebounds. That's pretty good. Listed at 6'5". Nobody saw him play. Bill Russell, nobody saw him play, but you know what he accomplished. Very limited offensive player. Not a good shooter, but the great winner, and you put him in there. We saw Shaq and Kobe. We want Shaq and Kobe to be higher. We saw Tim Duncan. Well, Tim Duncan should be higher. Maybe you saw Larry Bird in person. Maybe you just see the highlights there. That's why it's difficult when you vote on this. But ESPN's getting what ESPN wants, and that's reaction here. And I am front and center, guilty as charged. I reacted. Oh, I'm actually thinking about taking my game out to the course. Letting people know that I am back. Once again, I want to go left shoulder, right shoulder. That's it. Slow back, left shoulder, right shoulder. This is an 8-iron, 156. Okay. Really, I'm looking for location, not necessarily distance. Location. Location. I want to go left shoulder under my chin, right shoulder under my chin. And then you get that. And then you just drop it. And then you say to your caddy, booyah. He's Nick Nurse, the head coach of my Toronto Raptors. No matter where he goes, he wins. He's won in the D-League, British Basketball League, the Belgian Basketball League, all of the great leagues around the world, and he joins us now. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning, Dan. What's happening today?
If we don't have an NBA season, do then the Raptors carry the title for another year? Are you two-time NBA champs?
Or one time really long.
Long time.
NBA champs, I think.
I had a trivia question. It's not a trivia question. I think it's just an interesting fact. Schools to produce an NBA Finals winning head coach and a Super Bowl winning quarterback. You're on that list, Nick.
Wow. Kurt Warner.
Yes.
The great Kurt Warner.
Northern Iowa. You're on that list with Steve Kerr. Arizona, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl.
Awesome.
And here's one for you. Michigan is on the list. Tom Brady and Rudy Tomjanovich.
Wow.
So there you go. You learned something. That's it. That's all I needed to talk to you about, Coach.
That is 5 really cool names to be associated with. That's awesome. That's awesome.
How often do you stay in touch with your players?
Not that often, to be honest. We've had a few Zoom calls. We've certainly got somebody from our training staff in touch with them almost every day, every other day. Assistant coaches every 3 or 4 days just to check in.
What did you make of Shaquille O'Neal saying they should scrap the season altogether?
Well, that's a school of thought, I guess. I mean, it's been 2 months now. I think the time is on our side. The longer we go and get things out, push things out, the safer things are going to be. But I also think that we've put in a lot of work this year. We've only got, we played 62 games or something like that. We've almost got it done. So crowning a champion, if it's possible and if it's safe, I think we should still strive for that for sure.
Have you heard a plan that you think would work?
Well, I'm only hearing, the same plans you guys are hearing. And I think that getting it done and getting the competition on, I think for everybody's general psyche. I mean, fans, no fans, just getting something on TV and some competition that the world, not only this country but globally, can tune in and watch. I think would be great for everybody.
What would we hear if there were no fans and we're watching an NBA game?
Yeah, I think you're going to hear a lot. Well, I think a lot of us would have to adjust our our normal in-game routine, whatever that is. But
Well, wait,
you probably hear a lot.
how colorful is your language during a game?
Much more colorful than my mother would hope it would be. Let's put it that way. I hate to admit that, but I'd like to cut back on it someday, and maybe someday I will.
Does it ever help when a coach yells at a player?
Oh, for sure.
But can't you get that? The message I get to my kids, the lower my voice, the more impact I have. And whenever a coach used to yell at me, I just tune him out after a while.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think you can do it very constantly. I think, ever, you say ever. Yeah, it does sometimes. I don't make a habit of yelling at the players at all. And rarely. I think you're probably looking at a half dozen times for a season, maybe, and maybe less than that for brief moments in a film room or something.
Is a
I would
player
say
allowed to yell back?
for sure. For sure, man. We're grown men here. We're having a discussion.
Did you ever yell at Kawhi?
Everybody's participating sometimes.
Did you ever yell at Kawhi?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I did have some, yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe one or two times in a film session. When we went down 0-1 to Orlando in the opening round, I don't think anybody was spared the next couple days there, including, and it was pretty change of feeling and momentum and thinking and attitude that we needed quickly.
It's hard to envision you mad. Like you seem chill.
Well, I think a lot of us are chilled and very nice, but when the competition starts, you're competing, and it's tough out there. I think it's one of the things we see in the Last Dance stuff, man. When it's the heat of the battle, we're seeing some guys that are anything to win and physical and knocking people around and and whatever it takes.
But I know you're a Chicago fan. How big a Jordan fan were you?
I was really, I was big. I was a big fan. I was caught up in the era of greatness, and I was probably more of a Phil fan. I was already a young coach, and I was really more fascinated probably with Phil Jackson than Michael. But I mean, obviously, listen, I used to get in my car and drive 5 hours from Des Moines to Chicago, buy a standing room only ticket, and watch the game and drive 5 hours back in the same day to go coach my team at Grandview University the next morning.
But you're trying. I know that it was acceptable back then, admired back then. Imagine if LeBron played that way and his personality was that way. Would we allow LeBron to be the same way Michael was in the 90s?
Well, I don't know. I think that's, again, a fascinating thing to watch. I think that it certainly is different with the social media constant glare of that in this day and age. I think it would certainly take a different, thing. But listen, LeBron's competing like he's competing like crazy too now. I've seen enough of him up close to know that he's out there to do whatever it takes to win too.
But when you watch LeBron, would you ever allow LeBron in your mind to be better than Michael Jordan? What could he do that you would go, all right, he's going to be top 10 scoring and assist when it's all said and done. You can't ask for much more than that from an offensive player.
Yeah, he's incredible, Dan. I think that the only thing I can say is this is, tried to come up with game plans to stop him over and over, and haven't haven't really been very successful. He's seen it all. He knows how to adjust to everything. He really is a pass, minded player. He really gets the people the ball, and he throws that thing 100 miles an hour right to the shooting pocket. He makes the reads. He doesn't get rattled very often. He's got a lot of things that make him really, really tough to stop.
Who has a bigger impact on the game 10 or 15 years from now, LeBron or Steph Curry?
Well, I think they both have a huge impact. I think what Steph has done, as far as shooting from 30 feet or 35 feet or whatever has changed all over the world. I think little kids all over the world are bombing from, the 3-point line, but they say forget about the 3-point line. Let's back up another 10 feet and shoot too, because this guy does it and they emulate him, and the freedom that Kerr, Steve Kerr's given him and he's created, and the skill and all that stuff has certainly changed the game a lot, I think.
But we can't be like Mike, Nick. We can't be like LeBron. But all of us think we can be like Steph Curry. That's why I think his impact will be, it'll be even larger than Michael's from the standpoint of every kid thinks he can play in the NBA. We knew we couldn't do what Mike did. We can't be 6'9", 270 like LeBron. Steph Curry, we can be 6'3", 190.
It's a great point. I agree with you. Work on your handles like crazy. Figure out how to shoot lower release point so you can shoot it from 40 feet. And well, he practices a little bit too.
If I said we were going to have a game of horse, NBA coaches,
Yes.
give me 2 other guys you'd want to go against.
2 I'd want to go against.
Well, no, give me the 2
so I
other.
could win, or?
Give me the best game. If we played horse with NBA coaches.
Oh boy, let me just off the top of my head. I obviously think who are the really, really good players?
Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr. Doc Rivers was an incredible player.
Can Popovich shoot?
I assume at some point in his life he probably could. He was a good player too.
Okay.
That's a good question. I have to think about
so
that.
So you,
one.
Doc Rivers, and
was
Steve
a
Kerr.
player. Huh?
You, Doc Rivers, Steve Kerr.
Why are you putting me in there? I'm not. I'm not. Those guys had great NBA careers, multiple playoff wins, championship wins.
Yeah, but you can shoot, right? You were one of the great shooters in Northern Iowa history.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I could shoot a little bit for a mid-level college.
Are you
team.
Are you a better shooter than anybody on the Raptors?
Of course.
Who are you better than?
Most of them.
Okay, then. That didn't take long. That didn't take long to bring that out in you.
Well, shooters are going to think they can shoot, right? I'll take anybody on in a shooting competition.
I love that. You would take Steve Kerr on?
I would, but he'd beat me. He would.
Well, he probably would.
He would.
Yeah, he didn't. How about Rick Carlisle?
Rick Carlisle's another one.
Yeah, he could play.
See some footage of Rick there in the Last Dance. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, he was trying to play defense.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't want to try. I wouldn't want to. Yeah, well, maybe I would.
Hey, but if you made the Last Dance, that means you played and you were guarding Mike. I would take that. You get embarrassed?
Say you guarded him, right?
The Nick Nurse Foundation and the limited edition T-shirt. Do you have the T-shirt on?
I have a Box and One T-shirt on right now. That's coming to the foundation shortly.
Oh, good. That brings back bad memories, Coach.
Why?
My senior year, state basketball tournament.
Yes.
They played a Box and One on me.
Oh boy.
And I got shut down. Yeah. I hate the Box and One.
Sorry.
I think it's cheap.
Really?
Yeah, guard me.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, Box and One.
I'm guarding you really heavily.
Guard. Done.
Yeah.
The shirts say, "Be a team player, stay strong, stay safe," and you got your sunglasses on there, holding the Larry O'Brien Trophy. The foundation supports children, young adults through exposure to music, sports, and literacy. When did you come up with this?
Well, wow. Ironically, we've been obviously planning the foundation for a while. We actually had our kickoff, a night of music in support of the foundation on March 11th. We literally were wrapping it up when the news of Rudy Gobert came out. Yeah. Like we were all there. I went straight to the hospital to get tested right from that event. So we just kicked it off, and we're just trying to the COVID-19 has changed things a little bit, so we're trying to figure out a way to support some kids through this and raise some money and that kind of stuff.
What's the official website? Is it just Nick Nurse Foundation, or do you have a
website?
Yeah,
nicknursefoundation.org. Yeah.
Awesome. Good to talk to you. I'm going to see if I can set up this horse game with you and some of these other coaches here.
Okay, I'll be there.
I like it. Thank you, Coach. Great to talk
All
to you
right.
again.
Thanks, Dan.
That's
Appreciate it.
Nick Nurse
Thanks,
of my Toronto Raptors. One movie that you guys would recommend. Now, my kids are 21 through 28. This isn't a movie for your kids. It's for my kids because you guys might have a better idea here. Paulie, I'll start with you.
My kids are 11 and 8, and I really want to show the older
No,
ones.
this is mine.
Oh, for your kids.
21 through 28. Yeah, I don't care about your kids.
Oh.
It's about my kids.
Well, so they're old enough to watch anything.
Yeah.
I wonder if they've seen True Romance with Christian Slater.
Ooh.
They
haven't seen that.
That's a fantastic movie, especially if you have no concept of it and you put it on cold.
A lot of violence.
A lot of violence,
Yeah.
but good violence.
That's a Tarantino?
I don't know if I think he may have written it. I don't know if he directed it. Or the other way around.
Todd?
Spooks, The Shining, depending on what mood you're in on a given night.
Okay. The Shining?
The Shining, by far to me, the scariest movie
Okay.
ever. But if you want to keep it light, Airplane, I thought was hysterical. I loved that movie.
Okay. I like that one too. Shining's a little heavy. McLovin.
First of all, I just want to say I love the three movies so much. Broadcast News is the best. And Diner. I would add The Graduate to that list for that age group. He's with Dustin Hoffman. I think that really speaks to 20-somethings.
Okay. Seton O'Connor.
You know, a movie I just watched with, I remember as a kid watching and loving, and just this past weekend I watched it with my son, who's 10, was Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which might be the dumbest movie of all time. It is so impossibly stupid. It opens, so he was like, Dad, I can't tell if I love this movie or hate this movie. It's kind of both. But it opens with like 4 minutes of credits. Just as like, that's the opening joke is credits. And he was like, Dad, is this the end or what's happening?
We were thinking of This Is Spinal Tap too as another one.
Oh, yes.
That's a great movie.
Great.
Because Waiting for Guffman and Best in Show, like they loved Best in Show.
Best in Show is so good.
Because of Fred Willard. How much can you bet?
You and I have been saying that line.
Oh,
for
I know. Even when we'd have guests on, seriously, how much can you bet? Remember we did that with Mark Wahlberg? Came on, he goes, like, seriously, how much can you bet?
I think we asked someone that yesterday. Did we ask Mike Vrabel?
Yeah, seriously, how much can you bench? I brought this up to Paulie. If I said 10 or 15 years from now, which player today, aside from LeBron, is in the top 10? Because to me, that's interesting. Is Kawhi Leonard consistent enough, good enough to get into the top 10? Steph Curry would need a second act to get into the top 10, but he's very close. Who else? The Greek Freak has to win a championship or two, at least one. He has to win one championship to get in there. Kawhi's got 2. If Kawhi added 2 more, let's say, now he's got 4. Now, he's not a great regular season player. He's won 2 titles. I don't think he's one of the great players of all time. I think he's one of the great players of today, but not of all time. I need consistency there. You take time off, load management, all of those things factor in. I look at these guys who are playing 81, 82, 80 games every single year. I expect that out of my great players. But Shaq and Kobe, Kevin Durant has a chance. If he wins a title with the Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant, I could see as a top 10 player of all time. Now, he might get there anyway with just, sheer numbers. And he's got a title. But I think if you're going to go top 10, I need more than just one title to be in the top 10. Just my feeling there. If you're looking at greats of all time, there has to be something that says, boy, great career. Now to put you in the top 10, there has to be something that goes along with that. Fritzy, what did you learn on today's program?
We are ready to resume the AUAA in any town or city that will have us.
Yes. Nobody has asked about us yet. McLovin?
Fritzy has used Mickey Mantle on the scoreboard 46 times during this quarantine.
There has been a lot of Mickey Mantles.
Seton O'Connor.
You know what? Answering, would you rather get punched in the face or the stomach, tougher than you thought? I'm not sure which.
Yeah, I'd rather get punched in the stomach. But that's when you have abs, then you can do that. What we learned brought to you by Traeger. Join the Traegerhood. Wood-fired grills make it easy to create incredible flavor, whether you're barbecuing or baking bread. TraegerGrills.com/DP show. Talk to you tomorrow.